hope everyone's doing well this morning. I'm running late because someone's hubby wanted to go to Hardee's. So he ran to Hardee's and I ate real quick. So that's why I'm about 30 minutes late. But I had gotten sick yesterday, and I waited a while to eat. So this morning I went ahead and ate. Let's see who was in here. Vicky, Florence, Lovable Rogue. Good morning. Crystal, Southern Mom, Cheryl, Remy D, Very Mary, Tremaine. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing? I'm doing okay. I still just don't feel myself. I've been feeling tired, and then yesterday I about passed out while I was vacuuming. Yeah, with my shop vac, I was vacuuming. I was getting ready to do the master bedroom, and my vision had been blurred for like a minute or something. I didn't think much about it, and then the room started spinning. I started sweating. I had to go sit down in the recliner. I barely made it there. I was about to pass out. Yeah, it's Friday. Thank God. Sapphire Life. Good morning. My first live, she says. Welcome. We're going to have to highlight that comment. Well, welcome. We're going to do the BTK Killer this morning. It's going to be our topic. I have never done a video on him. I don't think ever. Not even a voiceover anything. But I got to watching a documentary about him, and I was like, I do remember when he was arrested. Jamie says, be careful, CC, take care of yourself. Thank you, girl. I know. I think my sugar dropped. I can't be sure. I can't remember if I said hello to Pamela. Hello, Pamela. Sounds like glucose level dropped. Yeah, I've done this before. I've had it happen several times. One time I got sick after I ate something sweet, though. It was really weird. But my dad's mom, she was a diabetic. I need to lose some weight. I mean, I'm not like fat. If y'all have ever watched a Funny Farm video where I'm doing chores, I mean, I'm not like fat, but, I'm a little chunky. But I probably should lose some weight. Yeah, Little Rogue, he helps me out with the animals and stuff. He was going to go let them out this morning. And I was like, no, I'm going to go do it. Because I didn't get to see Annabelle but yesterday evening. And she got all feisty with me, trying to fight me. I don't like it when she does that. Get your blood sugar checked as soon as you can. You can buy the machine at Kroger. Yeah, I've saw those. I can probably get my mother-in-law to order me one free. Do you have any orange juice? Actually, I do. I always have Coca-Cola and, stuff like that in my refrigerator. Of course, I always got sweet stuff around. I'm always eating junk food, too. Sweet stuff, donuts, crap I shouldn't be eating. Like sometimes when I'm hungry, instead of just stopping and fixing me a sandwich or something, I'll just grab some donuts, a pack of donuts, or a moon pie or something. Morning, Annie. So let's get to this Psycho Dennis Raider. Do y'all need to see a picture of him? He looks different after he's been in prison because he don't got that mustache going on. But what I'm going to do is I can't see the chat for a minute. is pulled up on my phone. I've got it pulled up. And I thought we would just go over, you know, his life and his background and the crimes he committed. It's very interesting. Dennis Raider, is a serial killer, but he had pretty normal parents. I don't think his mom showed him much attention. She liked to watch TV and stuff, but, he wasn't abused or anything. I'll look at the chat before I start reading. Charlie's girl, good morning. Angel Soul Memories, good morning, y'all, she said. Good morning, everyone. So I'm not going to be able to see the chat. Let me get back to Dennis Raider. So as you can see, he was born in 1945, March 9th. He is an American serial killer known as BTK, or the BTK Strangler. Now, Dennis gave himself the name BTK for bind, torture, and kill. And between 1974 and 1991, Raider killed 10 people in the Wichita, Kansas metro area. Dennis sent taunting letters to police and newspapers describing the details of his crimes. After a decade-long hiatus, Dennis resumed sending letters in 2004, leading to his 2005 arrest and subsequent guilty plea. He is serving 10 consecutive life sentences at El Dorado Correctional Facility in Kansas. There's his mugshot. And Dennis he's got 2 children. And I actually watched, the documentary I watched had Dennis's daughter on it. I think she actually wrote a book, about growing up with her dad. And she had no idea that he was a serial killer. And I felt so bad for her because she was crying. And she said, that she missed her dad, the dad that she knew. But she really didn't know her dad. If this would scroll, which it is, that way I could look at my chat while I'm reading. His daughter has done a couple of interviews. My heart goes out to her and the victims' families. I know, because, she didn't, she can't help what her dad did. There's another one of those serial killers. He was a truck driver. He was a big old man too. But anyways, his daughter did have a show on the ID channel. He was a trucker, and he would pick up prostitutes and kill them. I think they called him Smiley Face Killer. Okay, so let's get into his life and background. So his parents were Dorothea May Raider and William Elvin Raider. He is one of 4 sons. His brothers are named Paul, Bill, and Jeff. Though born in Pittsburgh, Kansas, he grew up in Wichita. His parents both worked long hours and paid little attention to their children at home. He would later describe feeling ignored by his mother in particular and resenting her for it. Got mommy issues. Most of these male serial killers do. But you know what? There's a lot of people that grow up with parents that work and they don't show their kids a lot of attention, and they're not serial killers. From a young age, Raider harbored sadistic sexual fantasies about torturing trapped and helpless women. He also exhibited zoosadism by torturing, killing, and hanging small animals. I didn't know it was called that. He acted out sexual fetishes for, what in the world? Voyeurism and autoerotic asphyxiation and cross-dressing. He would often spy, and I think this word, I looked it up, the one I couldn't pronounce. Okay, it means it is the sexual interest in or practice of watching other people engage in intimate behavior such as undressing, sexual activity, or other actions usually considered to be of a private nature. He would often spy on female neighbors while dressed in women's clothing, including women's underwear that he had stolen, and masturbate with ropes and other bindings around his arms and neck. Years later, during his cooling off periods between murders, he would take pictures of himself wearing women's clothes and a female mask while bound. He would later admit that he was pretending to be his victims as part of a sexual fantasy. God, he is one sicko. He kept his sexual proclivities well hidden, however, and was widely regarded in his community as friendly and polite. Most serial killers are friendly and polite. Raider attended Kansas Wesleyan University, I don't know if that's how you say it, after high school, but received mediocre grades and dropped out after 1 year. He spent 1966 through 1970 in the United States Air Force. Upon discharge, he moved back to Park City, where he worked in the meat department of Liquor's IGA supermarket, where his mother was a bookkeeper. He married Paula Dietz on May 22, 1971, and they had 2 children, Carrie and Brian. He attended Butler County Community College in El Dorado, earning an associate's degree in electronics in 1973. He then enrolled in Wichita State University and graduated in 1979 with a bachelor's degree in administration of justice. Well, that's interesting. So I'm just wondering, like, when he had sexual relationships with his wife, if he, like, got rough with her, if he would, like, try to, like, strangle her during sex, or if he hid all that from her. He was probably just normal around her. Iceman Killer is better than the BTK Killer. We'll do the Iceman. I know exactly who you're talking about. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Mac. How are y'all? We're just talking about the BTK and going through his back history here. So now let's do the case history, the murder, since we know a little bit about his background. He's always been a freak, even since he was a kid. He tortured animals. I think in the documentary it said that his mom actually got her hand hung in the couch, her finger or something one day. Well, she got it stuck, and he was little. He was watching her. She got done stuck, and she was bleeding. But that right then and there, he knew he was aroused by women being helpless and in pain. Sicko. Weirdo. Serial killers fascinate me. I mean, just, I don't know, the way they think and stuff. Such freaks. I hate to say that, but I mean, it's the truth. They're psychos. They're born evil. BTK Killer proves it. Like you told, BTK is a monster. Yeah, he is. I mean, and he just liked to kill. And have y'all seen him in court when he's confessing to the judge and telling his judge about the murders and stuff? He acts like he's just talking about something normal. He's like cold and matter of fact about it. I don't know. Gosh, I hear my stinking dog in there starting about something. Okay. So on January 15th, 1974, 4 members of the Otero family were murdered in Wichita, Kansas. The victims were Joseph Otero, age 38, Julie Otero, age 33, and 2 children, Joseph Jr., age 9, and Josephine, age 11. Their bodies were discovered by the family's eldest child, Charlie Otero, who was in the 10th grade at the time. And I did watch him. They interviewed him on the documentary. I felt so bad for him as he returned home from school. After his 2005 arrest, Raider confessed to killing the Otero family. Raider wrote a letter that had been stashed inside an engineering book in the Wichita Public Library in October 1974, which described in detail the killing of the Otero family in January of that year. You know, they were immigrants, and they came to America, I believe, from Puerto Rico, and they were just trying to give their kids a better life. They were good people. And Dennis Raider had spotted Josephine going into her house one day, and he became obsessed with her. So he stalked outside the house and decided just to barge in one morning after the older kids had went to school. Now, he did not sexually assault little Josephine, but he hung her from the rafters in the basement, and he masturbated. Yeah, but he didn't actually sexually assault her. But I do think her clothing was gone. And he tied the parents up, of course, I think first, murdered them. Tank Lanky Tor, his manner of fact. Yeah, he was very matter of fact when he was talking in the courtroom. What is up with his weird eyebrows? It's like he's only got so much of the eyebrows. Like they go up and the rest of them's missing. Bless his daughter's heart, she looks just like him. Hey, Florence, I see you. It's good to see you. She says, I remember the BTK killer. He was a church-going man and was married, had daughters. Yeah, he went to church. Oh, he took one of his victims to that church. He went to a Lutheran church. Okay. In early 1978, he wanted attention. Dennis Raider, he wanted attention. So in early 1978, he sent another letter to a television station, KAKE in Wichita, claiming responsibility for the murders of the Oteros, Catherine Bright, Shirley Vian, and Nancy Fox. He suggested many possible names for himself, including one that stuck, BTK. He demanded media attention in his second letter, and it was finally announced that Wichita did indeed have a serial killer at large. The poem was enclosed titled, "Oh Death to Nancy," a parody of the lyrics to the American folk song, "Oh Death." In the letter, he claimed to be driven to kill by an X factor, which he characterized as a supernatural element that also motivated Jack the Ripper, son of Sam, in the Hillside Strangler murders. So he's saying that he was possessed by a demon, the X Factor. I don't know. I think Dennis Rader was born evil. From an early age, he got a thrill out of torturing animals and stuff. Rustic Mockery. Evening, y'all. Good evening. Welcome. Little Kelly. Hey, sweet lady. I'm listening while making me some breakfast. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing good, Kelly. BTK was so stupid the cops traced his floppy disk letter. I know, Lanky Tor. When I was reading all this and watching the documentaries, I was like, how stupid. It's almost like he wanted to be caught. We'll get into that in just a second. We'll get into that. Okay, I lost my place here. Okay, so he also intended to kill others, such as Anna Williams, who in 1979, aged 63, escaped death by returning home much later than expected. Rader explained during his confession that he became obsessed with Williams and was absolutely livid when she evaded him. He spent hours waiting at her home, but became impatient and left when she did not return home from visiting friends. So he would just see people, just see women, and just, become obsessed with them. So obsessed that, he'd have to kill them. I hear Mark outside. Gosh, he's so annoying. Okay. Marina Hedge, age 53, was found on May 5th, 1985 at East 53rd Street, north between North Webb Road and North Greenwich Road in Wichita. Dennis had killed her on April 27, 1985, and took her dead body to his church, the Christ Lutheran Church, where he was president of the church council. Then he photographed her body in various bondage positions. Raider had previously stored black plastic sheets and other materials in the church in preparation for the murder, then later dumped the body in a remote ditch. He had called his plan Project Cookie. What a sick, twisted man. I'll tell you what, I bet you he splits hell wide open for taking a dead body like that to that church like that. He's going to split hell wide open anyways for all these people he killed. But I'm just saying, that makes it even worse. Project Cookie, what's that about? Okay, in 1988, after the murders of 3 members of the Baker family in Wichita, a letter was received from someone claiming to be the BTK killer, in which the author of the letter denied being the perpetrator of the Baker murders. The author credited the killer with having done admirable work. God, what a sicko. It was not proven until 2005 that this letter was in fact written by Dennis Raider. He is not considered by police to have committed this crime. If Dennis Raider committed this crime, Dennis would have admitted to it. He was very proud of his work. Additionally, 2 of the women Raider had stalked in the 1980s and one he had stalked in the mid-1990s filed restraining orders against him. One of them also moved away. Well, they got off lucky. His final victim, Dolores E. Davis, was found on February 1st, 1991 at West 117th Street North and North Meridian Street in Park City. Raider killed her on January 19th, 1991. Okay, now we're getting into, when they're getting ready to catch him. Hey, Emily. Light Feather. I don't think I said hi to you. We're just doing the BTK killer, Emily. Oh, crap. I hope I didn't time nobody out or block nobody. By 2004, the investigation of the BTK killer was considered a cold case. Then, Raider began a series of 11 communications to his local media that led directly to his arrest in February 2005. In March 2004, the Wichita Eagle received a letter from someone using the return address Bill Thomas Kilman. The author of the letter claimed that he had murdered Vicky Wet Girl or something on September 16, 1986, and enclosed photographs of the crime scene and a photocopy of her driver's license, which had been stolen at the time of the crime. It is thought that, he wrote these letters after his kids was grown and moved out of the house and stuff. It's what motivated him to start back with this crap. Before this, it had not been definitely established that Vicky was killed by BTK. DNA collected from under Vicky's fingernails provided police with previously unknown evidence. Then they began DNA testing hundreds of men in an effort to find the serial killer. Altogether, over 1,300 DNA samples were taken and later destroyed by the court. In May 2004, television station KAKE in Wichita received a letter with chapter headings for the BTK story, Fake IDs, and a word puzzle. On June 9, 2004, a package was found taped to a stop sign at the corner of First and Kansas in Wichita. It had graphic descriptions of the Otero murders and a sketch labeled, "The Sexual Thrill is My Bill." Also included was a chapter list for a proposed book titled The BTK Story, which mimicked a story written in 1999 by Court TV crime writer David Lohr. Lohr, I don't know how you say his name. I can't pronounce it. Chapter 1 was entitled A Serial Killer is Born. In July, a package was dropped into the return slot of the downtown public library containing more bizarre materials, including the claim that he was responsible for the death of 19-year-old Jake Allen in Argonia, Kansas, earlier that month. This claim was false, and the death was ruled a suicide. So he was very proud of his work. It's like he wanted recognition for it. I think he wanted to be caught. Hey, Lev Hollis. Where's Eric at? Eric G. Hey, how are you doing? Long time no see. Hey, I just got into this case. I just started, a documentary came on about it, and I sat there and watched it. Then I got into it. Mary Cap was his co-worker. Oh, really? Okay. I lost my place, y'all. I mean, if Eric wants to come on panel, he can. It's up to him. I'm trying to figure out where I left off at. Okay, after his capture, Raider admitted in his interrogation that he had been planning to kill again, and he had set a date, October 2004, and was stalking his intended victim. In October 2004, a manila envelope was dropped into a UPS box in Wichita. It had many cards with images of terror and bondage of children pasted on them. A poem threatening the life of the lead investigator, and a false autobiography with many details about Raider's life. These details were later released to the public. Okay, let me get out of that Wikipedia. Okay, there's the link, Eric. This man is a real weirdo. BTK is truly a demon. Yeah, he said he had some kind of X factor inside of him. I'm assuming that's a demon. So I heard his daughter, how they matched his DNA. His daughter went to college. She had a pap smear done. They had a sample. And, it came back that someone that she was kin to was the killer. Let me see if Eric's up here yet. No. I'll read to y'all what happened. Hey, Nary Quack Contrary. So, what happened is he sent a letter to police, and I think he did an advertisement in the newspaper. That's how he was communicating with them. And he was like, ask them a question like, if I've got to use floppy disk, will it show up any other data on it? Of course, they said no. So he sent this floppy disk to them. And it says police found metadata embedded in a deleted Microsoft Word document that was unknown to Raider, still stored on the floppy disk. The metadata contained the words Christ Lutheran Church, and the document was marked as last modified by Dennis. An internet search determined that Dennis Raider was president of the church council from the Home Depot incident. The police also knew that BTK owned a black Jeep Cherokee. When investigators drove by Raider's house, they noticed a black Jeep Cherokee parked outside. Okay, let me check, make sure Eric's not up here yet. There he is.
CC.
Please don't be the hurry up bandit, Eric. Yeah, you there?
Hi, CC. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. How you doing? It's been a long time.
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So, what do you know about BTK?
Well, keep going. I don't want to take over. Keep
Well,
reading.
okay. So we just did the floppy disk. They drove
Yep.
by his house, noticed he had a black Jeep. Okay, it says police had strong circumstantial evidence against Raider, but they needed more direct evidence to detain him. They obtained a warrant to test the DNA of a pap smear Raider's daughter had taken at the Kansas State University Medical Clinic when she was a student there. The DNA on the pap smear was processed by the Kansas Bureau of Investigation at their lab in Topeka, and it demonstrated a, how do you say that, familial? Anyways, it matched.
Oh, the DNA test.
Yeah.
They took his daughter's pap smear from the Kansas University.
Yeah. I'm trying to pronounce this word. Familial match. Basically, they
You
knew it
got
was
me.
yeah. Basically, they knew it was someone that was related to her
Oh yeah.
because they had
Familial. I think it's familial, right?
yeah. I don't know. I have trouble pronouncing words.
Same here.
But okay, so he was later arrested driving near his home in Park City shortly after noon on February 25th, 2005. And he basically knew why he was being arrested. And he was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. He got a public defender. He had a $10 million bond. And that's about it. He's in prison. So, Eric, what do you know? Oh, gosh. I don't know what happened there.
That was me.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just had to add you back. It's okay. So I
Sure.
was just saying that he got charged with 10 counts of murder. And of course, he's in the penitentiary for the rest of his life. But I was asking you, like, what do you know and what are your thoughts on this case?
Well, there's just a few cases that I've been really interested in, and it started as the Manson case. You and I have talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
And years later, I got into this case. He's just a weirdo. Like, he even knew he was weird. And that avatar pic of my account, that book I'm holding, that's the book to read on this case, Confession of a Serial Killer.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you want to understand the psychology, his do you know what those old pulp magazines are, you know, where the woman is always in distress and there's a guy holding a knife to her neck. You know, those old smut mags from like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
do you call those? Anyways, his dad kept those in the car, and he found them as a little kid, and that played a big role. I mean, he never sexually assaulted any of his victims. It was all about tying them up. I mean, he was a bondage freak.
yeah, yeah.
That's the whole key to understanding him.
He would just masturbate. Gosh, I hate even saying that word.
Well, that's what he did.
When
Yeah,
I was very shocked by that he didn't sexually assault his victims like,
he
Ted Bundy.
he felt he would be cheating on his wife. That's the kind of twisted morals he had.
Yeah, at one point, wasn't he was like a security guard, and they said he took that so serious.
Oh, every job he had, he took so serious. He was a animal control and compliance officer, and the single women on his patrol beat got harassed and intimidated the most.
Yeah. One lady said that he actually shot her dog.
Oh yeah, with tranquilizers. Yeah,
Oh,
he he
I thought he killed it.
no, he shot it with tranquilizers, and then he took it to the pound and didn't return her phone calls for like 5 days to let the pound kill the dog.
Wow.
Yeah, he was sick.
And like his wife and his kids, they had no idea. I mean, they were like totally shocked. I think she got a divorce right away, an emergency divorce.
Yeah, yeah, she did, and his daughter said that she only saw like 2 acts of violence her whole life.
Wow.
That
I
he
felt
got
so bad for her, and I felt bad for the boy, what's his name, Charlie Otero, that
yeah,
found his parents murdered and his sister. I felt so bad for him.
and he thought that they were still alive. That's the crazy that he left the house and he didn't even see his brother and sister. So when he was at the police station, he kept saying, "You got to get my brother and sister out of school before they get home and see this." And they told him, "Sorry, but they're dead too."
That's so sad.
It is
And did you, I'm sure you have, watched him in the courtroom when he's telling the judge about the murders?
many times. Yeah,
Like, he is so cold hearted. I mean, he just talks about it like, he's having a normal conversation with someone.
and obsessed with every little detail. He was the kind of person that you know, arranged his paper clips. It was all about getting the details and facts straight in his mind. Like it wasn't the tragedy of it that was important to him. It was getting the details, the notes correct. He's a doofus.
A
Like
violent tendencies.
like
KDS, no, that is Eric G talking. Sorry, Eric.
no problem.
Go ahead.
Like if you watch at the end of the video when he's doing the uh, what is it, the final testimonial, when he's thanking everybody for, it's like he's accepting an Oscar award. He's thanking the police department, thanking the news crew like he's accepting an award.
I know he was very proud of his work. I mean, I took it as he wanted to get caught. What do you think?
Oh no, he didn't. He no, he did not want to get caught at all.
Yeah, well, I didn't know
But
because he kept writing letters. I mean, and he really thought the police were going to be honest to him
yep,
about the floppy disk.
He thought they had a relationship going, like a friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want to get caught because he still was planning one more murder. His last and final ultimate.
100% Pure Love says, "Oh my God, he's the one who did some of the ATL murders." Now that is sad. The ATL murders. I can remember watching a movie about that. Like
What's that? What's that? The
that's where all the someone was going around targeting the little young African American boys
oh, in Atlanta,
in Atlanta. Yeah, like back in what, the 80s, late 70s, 80s.
they're saying BTK did those murders.
Yeah,
No, no, he didn't.
you don't think so?
Absolutely not. No way. It doesn't fit his interest in bondage and women and everything.
Yeah. Well, I think the killer that's behind bars, a lot of people think that did the Atlanta child murders, a lot of people think he's innocent, but they actually had some fibers that matched up to his house.
Plus, also, if you were to look at the timeline, you would see that Dennis Rader was employed in Wichita during those years for,
Yeah.
I think, Cessna airplanes, and he, believe it or not, he worked for ADT Security installing alarms. If that isn't messed up.
What was going on in the 70s and 80s? There's so many serial killers. You know, you got John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy,
Well,
Jeffrey Dahmer come along.
there was no DNA back then. Uh,
Yeah.
I I personally think that like if you read Ted Bundy talk about the bondage magazines and those crime magazines, that was porn for serial killers, and that stuff was in heavy circulation then. I'm not saying you I'm not saying that the crime should be blamed on porn. I'm just saying that that was the spark that lit the fire with a lot of those people. You
Yeah.
know, you can't walk into a truck stop nowadays and find a magazine of a psychopath holding a knife up to a woman's throat, but you could back in those years.
Yeah. That's some sick stuff. 100% pure love. Welcome to the channel. Keep saying that BTK could have done some of the murders. Who knows? Who knows? These crazy people. I mean,
He
anything's
liked he
possible, I
liked to
guess.
t- he liked to tie up women. He wasn't interested in specifically children. That's just no way.
Yeah. He just saw Josephine, and just became obsessed with her. But he didn't sexually assault her. He hung her in the basement. And, did you know what? I hate saying that word.
Yeah, yeah, he got himself off for sure.
Yeah, that is so sick.
Yeah,
Pure
it
psych.
is.
I wonder if any FBI, like specialists, like doctors have interviewed him, like Ted Bundy, he had that one guy, that one doctor that interviewed him.
Yeah, he's been interviewed a lot. I think that Dr. Ramsland who wrote that book that's on my profile picture there, she interviewed him, and I was emailing with her asking her about him, and I asked her the old question: is it nature versus nurture? And she says it's always both.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how he says factor X, I was born with factor X, it's a demon,
Uh-huh.
and it's a demon inside me.
Yeah,
I mean, he was born weird and different,
yeah,
and when he saw his mom catch her wedding ring in the couch, it turned him on, and
yeah,
that lit the whole match.
yeah. Okay.
So he was born that way, but
Yeah.
he was also nurtured by finding sleazy bondage magazines, and he like reinforced his own behaviors.
Yeah. Um, have you seen the pictures when he would dress up as a woman and tie himself up? I think one of the pictures is in my thumbnail. I thought that was weird, and he would put a mask on, um, acting out his fantasy, pretending to be his victim, maybe so he didn't have to go out and kill. I'm not for sure.
You asking me or Chet?
Oh, I'm just talking. I'm
Yeah,
talking to you.
yeah, yeah. I've seen all that stuff. Yeah, he liked to relive it. He kept all their jewelry and driver's licenses, and he said that that's what got him through when he couldn't go out and find a victim because his own family got in his way. I mean, that's what he said. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if he loved his family. How is someone like that capable of love? I just don't see how they could be.
That doctor, she says that he's really good at compartmentalizing.
Right.
So, and he called it cubing, like a Rubik's cube. How he could just show different sides of himself. So he was on one side of the cube, a family man; on the other side, serial killer; on the other side, church leader. That's how he looked at his life, as which Dennis am I showing right now?
And the one victim he took back to the church, he actually took pictures of that body inside the church.
Yeah, what a great guy, huh?
Yeah. What a psycho.
Yep.
He knew there was something wrong with him, but he seems proud of it.
He wanted notoriety right up there with Bundy, and he here's an interesting case you can look up is Harvey Glatman. That was his biggest influence, and Glatman uh, pr- Glatman pretended to be a photographer, or he was a photographer, and he would look for bondage models for those pulp magazines that I was talking about, and he would basically do the same thing because he was obsessed with bondage. He was Raider's hero, Harvey Glatman.
I wrote that down. I'm going to look that up later.
Yeah, that was his uncle. That was his uncle Harvey. I mean, he didn't call him that, but that's what I think of him as.
Lanky Tor says during a Boy Scout camping trip, he murdered and came back to camp like nothing happened. Wow. Hey, Mel Mel. Serial killers, they're very interesting how their mind operates and stuff. I mean, it's like they have no compassion. It's like they have no emotions, no care. They can murder someone and not think anything about it, not feel bad about it at all. They actually enjoy it. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Did
he
you-
he he looked at every murder as a movie to be played out, and the victims were just actors in the movie.
He had pretty normal parents, lovable Rogue, but they just worked a lot, didn't show him a lot of attention. You vaping?
Sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
I quit smoking like a year ago, so it's really worked good.
Well, I saw on TV this morning that vaping's actually got some metals in it, and I have an allergic reaction to metal. It is so weird, so I probably shouldn't vape. I still smoke. I've been wanting to vape, but I'm afraid of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's 95% better than smoking, but who knows if that's actually true? But I feel better, so
So how's things in your area with coronavirus and stuff?
numbers are low statewide where I'm at.
Oh, that's good.
Well, anyways, I don't want to take over your stream here, Cece. Is there anything else, Raider, you wanted to talk about?
Um,
Otherwise, I'm going to start drinking coffee. I woke up. I woke up and saw your live, and I'm like, "Ooh, I got to get in on that."
no, I think that's about it. It's all the Raider I think I'm going to do today.
The thing about him is just that I've always found interesting is just mainly that the the bondage thing, the rope thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that was his whole motivation. Even as a kid, you know, he killed animals as most serial killers do, and it was always with ropes.
Yeah, that's so weird. He didn't want to sexually assault his victim. He just wanted to tie him up and masturbate. I mean,
Because he thought that would be cheating on his wife. I mean,
yeah,
isn't that an interesting set
yeah,
of morals, right?
yeah. He wants to follow the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not commit adultery, but not the thou shalt not commit murder commandment.
Yeah.
So weird.
Well, Cece, thanks for having me up.
Hey, it was good to talk to you.
You
Come
too.
around more. You got to come around and chat more.
I will. Yeah.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
We'll do Manson one day.
You got it.
All
Love
right.
to.
Bye, Eric.
Bye.
Oh, my goodness. We'll have to do the Atlanta child murders 100%. 100. I want to say 100%. 100% pure love. I can't talk sometimes. Yeah, it's nice to hear from Eric. Eric's been around for a long time. Don't see him much. Alyssa, the stress right now has me smoking even more than I normally do, and smoking's the worst thing for lungs and this virus. I know. I have got to quit smoking. I breathe so hard. Even when I'm just standing around, I will breathe like I'm out of breath. Like I've been like walking up a hill or something. It's crazy. It's good to see you in here too, Lanky Tor. Maybe if you know about the Atlanta child murders, maybe you can come up and talk with me one morning. I came in late. Who was that speaking? That was Eric G. Leanne. Linda K. Again. So what y'all's plans this weekend? I'm just going to hang out with my son and my animals. That's about it. His voice sounds familiar. He's been on my panel before, a long time ago. I'm pretty sure. He used to be around a lot. Please do Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Oh, yeah, we will. I need help when I do these. I need somebody that's familiar I can talk with back and forth so we have a good discussion. It's hard to do it all by yourself. His name's just Eric G. Lynn. So he said, have you been tested for COPD? No, I never go to the doctor, Marie. I never go. I hate it. I hate going to the doctor more than anything in this world. I don't know why. Mammothon weekend here, 48-hour live streaming. Oh, really, Linda? Y'all go check out Linda K. Listening's channel. Too bad you can't click on people's pictures anymore and go directly to their channel. I don't know why YouTube stopped that. It's crazy. Listen, I may bake another cake, dark chocolate cake with white icing. Last week I baked strawberry cheesecake. Oh, I love strawberry cheesecake. Gosh, I love cheesecake. I love sweet stuff. Crap, I messed up my chat thing. Let me find it back. I don't go to the doctor enough. I hardly ever go. I mean, like, I gotta be bad before I go to the doctor. I think the last time I went was last year, maybe. The Ice Killer, he's something else, no emotion. Oh, yeah, I've watched his interviews. It's been a long time. We'll have to do his interviews. Maybe we could actually play some of his interviews. You can, like, play audio and stuff. We could just speed it up a little bit, pause every little bit. Maybe I could record some of his interviews and just play it from my Google Drive. Two of my daggone eggs cracked, guys. It was in my incubator. I had to get rid of them. I don't know what made them do that. Very mad. I'm so mad they took that option away. It made it harder to identify cloned accounts. I know. It's almost like they done it so people couldn't go to check out people's channels. Anybody else hear about Hillary Clinton doing 40 years? No. I was surprised she didn't get in trouble. All that crap she had going on during the election and crap, lying to FBI and stuff. Dahmer is a fascinating one. Yeah, I've watched a lot of stuff about Jeffrey Dahmer. I think I did a live stream about him, but we could do another one. Katie, if we're going to do the Tiger King topic again, I'm following everything Carol Baskin's doing. Are you turning them often in FCC? Yeah, I turned the eggs in the incubators off. 100% pure love's probably like, what in the hell is she talking about? I got chicken eggs incubating in a homemade incubator, and yeah, I had to crack. I mean, I'm turning them like about 6 times a day, probably. Probably need to turn them more. Well, Katie, if whenever you're available, I'm down for talking about Carol Baskin and Jeff Lowe. Dahmer's Polaroid photos are insane. Yes, I know. I've looked at some of the crime scene photos. Mary Capps. That must have, yeah, like you told, Mary Capps must have been the lady on the documentary that kept saying that she kept reporting Dahmer for years to the city council because he, worked for the city doing something. But there was a lady on there, she kept saying, did I say Dahmer? I mean, Dennis Raider. I don't know what I said. It's pretty bad when you don't even know what you just said. Oh, crap. Ripper Jack is going to, if he'll to dig a septic tank and find Carol, but for real. Hey, Ripper Jack Gaming, he's been doing a lot of videos on Carol Baskin. And he's been showing like evidence and putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And looks like Carol should be worried. Looks like to me she done something to her husband. She's still on there doing her video, stupid diary videos. We should do Stephen Avery Day, making a murder, Dahmer and Avery. Yeah, we'll do that, Cheryl. We'll have to get Linda Kay up here if we're going to do making a murder, because she knows what's up with that. I know a little bit about it, but not like she would know. Okay, I'm going to type that in before I get off here. Hillary Clinton going to jail. Type it in here on my phone. don't see nothing about it. I saw a YouTube video. I'll ask my hubby about that when he gets back. He keeps up to all those politics and stuff. Sometimes they put out fake articles. They really do. But I will look into that. She should have went to jail for what she did, but she's Hillary Clinton. She had all that set up in her basement, internet servers, whatever the crap it was. How about the guy from Norway who killed students on the Smile Island a few years ago? Her emails has came back up. Oh, well, she probably is going to go then. Yeah, and they had all those deleted emails. She had that set up in her basement. I don't keep up with politics much, I know a little bit about what's going on, but I just didn't feel like, as a woman, that Hillary Clinton was all for women. She made fun of when she was a defense attorney. She defended a guy who raped a underage girl, attacked and raped her. He raped her so violently it damaged her from having children and stuff. She defended this man. She called that little girl promiscuous. This was on a recording too, and I've heard it. She said the little girl was promiscuous, slept around, was a slut, had sex with involuntary, making fun of that little girl. That turned me off about her. I don't care if that happened years ago. It tells me how she is. She's fake. I have nothing for that woman after hearing that story and hearing that recording. She is not all for women. Oh, you're welcome, Eric. It was fun. It was good chatting with you. Well, y'all have a wonderful day. I'm going to get off here and go mess with my dogs for a minute. Get some things done. Gotta get my son's bedroom cleaned up and stuff. Thanks for chatting. It's been fun. I'll see y'all Sunday morning. I'm supposed to do a live stream, Darlie Routier case with Rich Prater, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. But anyways, love y'all. Be kind. Peace.